Did it say when the crucifix was put up? That looks very modern. So Mary was the 19th century, 1866 you said?
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. We're in France, Avignon to be precise, and we're about to board a Viking River Cruise that will take us down the Rhone about 50 kilometers tonight, and tomorrow evening it'll turn around and sail about 250 kilometers over the next 8 days to our final port, which is Lyon. After exploring Arles to our immediate south, we'll head north, back to Avignon, and then stop along the way at additional ports until we finish in France's third largest city. I'll show you where we went, some of the fun parts of the ship that took us there, and provide some thoughts on booking a river cruise.
Okay, here we go. Viking Heimdall. They've rolled out the red carpet for us. The water-resistant red carpet.
Within minutes of checking in, we were escorted to our room and given a quick overview of how everything worked.
No, I think it worked. I think there we go. Turns on all the lights. View of the Rhone. Let's check the closets first. Those are our jackets. We just put them in. That's our backpack. We have a safe. And everything we need, including a refrigerator for cerveza.
We're staying in this cabin because we wanted a French balcony. Viking's website has photos and layouts of all available cabins on their ships. On the Heimdall, the cabins directly below us have a window at the water level, and the cabins one floor above us have sliding doors that open onto a personal veranda. The floor below is less expensive, however, I wanted a full view of the river. Staying one floor up is a bit pricier, and as much as I would have enjoyed my own personal veranda, a French balcony works just fine. It's a personal choice on how much you want to spend. My favorite option is the French balcony. The double bed was comfortable, and it's great because each morning you go to breakfast, and as soon as you return from breakfast, the bed is made. In the evening, you return from dinner, and the bed is turned down. If you and whoever is staying with you prefer single beds, you can request that arrangement when booking.
Not sure how we turn that one on. Oh, that's how you turn it on. Shot of me waving, and now what everybody's waiting for, the size of the bathroom. Not bad for a boat. Good size shower, toilet, sink. Plenty of fancy soaps, conditioners, body washes, and oh, so I don't forget, yes, there is a hairdryer.
Talking of guests, there are around 200 of us on board. The population skews older, with the majority in their 60s and 70s. From there, you'll meet couples in their 50s and 40s, and even younger, although the few guests I talked to who are in their late 20s were traveling with parents or grandparents.
Okay, ready to go in this unfamous tunnel?
Most couples I met were from the United States. I also met a few people from Australia, but the passengers were overwhelmingly American. Prior to the pandemic, we were on a Viking cruise, and even though the guests on that ship were still mostly from the United States, there were many more people from other countries. Several were from Canada, a few more were British, and a large group of friends traveling together were from Mexico City. That was in the spring compared to this trip in November, so not sure if the time of year changes the makeup of when travelers from various countries go abroad. I'm sure there are more nationalities on board. I didn't ask everyone where they are from, but home countries would come up in conversation if we got to know each other during the week. The first night, there's a mandatory meeting for all passengers. You'll bring your life jacket to the lounge, hear a safety tutorial, and receive instructions on how to put on said life jacket and what to do in an emergency. One passenger sitting near me during happy hour mentioned he didn't need to attend as he was on a river and could swim to shore. Well, that's a silly and dangerous statement to make, and when his party didn't go back to their cabins for their life jackets, it delayed the safety meeting for all of us. Just listen to what the crew members tell you to do and observe any safety signs. Honestly, after this one safety meeting, which only lasted 10 or 15 minutes, it was back to vacation for the duration of the trip. After unpacking, we went to lunch in the dining room. I ordered off the standard menu. Similar to dinner, each seating will have a standard menu, which is the same every day, as well as options that change every day, mostly designed to incorporate dishes and flavors from the port you're in at the time. I'll let you know that except for a few dishes, food really isn't that important to me. That said, I enjoyed all the meals that were served. During the week, folks dining with us said they enjoyed what they ate as well. If food is your thing, you'll appreciate that the chef comes to see everyone during early evening festivities in the lounge and lets everyone know what is being served that evening and how it's being prepared. Breakfast is a buffet, and there's a station where you can get eggs in any style you choose. You'll also hear the breakfast special from your waiter. I usually didn't order that, with the exception of the day he offered me huevos rancheros. One of those few dishes I do enjoy. It was served in a unique way with a poached-style egg and mild pico de gallo on a tortilla. It was a bit less spicy than I'm used to. There weren't any overly spicy dishes the entire week on board, but being in the south of France, that shouldn't be a surprise. The ranch-style egg plate I had was the right size to convince me to order a second helping. My guess is you can order just about as much food as you want. I didn't see that happen too often, although I'm certain they'll accommodate you. One evening they gave me 2 desserts upon request because I wanted a special chocolate torte as well as the creme brulee, which is served each night. Creme brulee is my one other example of a dish I truly enjoy. You won't go hungry while you're cruising.
Actually, no, but for whatever reason, I really like this creme brulee.
River cruises aren't like large ocean cruises, as you don't have thousands of visitors on board. When you go to breakfast, it won't be busy as you show up at your own time and eat fairly quickly so you can head out on your morning excursion.
Time for an espresso.
For lunch, it gets a bit busier in the dining room as everyone returns from morning activities, they're hungry, and they choose to eat immediately. For dinner, well, even with only about 200 people on board, when everyone is in one dining room, it seemed to fill up. On our ship, there was another place you could be served dinner, the Aquavit Terrace. That's where we chose to eat each evening. The terrace seated 25 or 30 diners and to me felt like a VIP section. Each night we sat with a new couple, so if you're interested in meeting fellow passengers, you can do so on the terrace as well as in the dining room. In addition to not going hungry on board, you won't go thirsty either. You'll be offered complimentary wine or beer with lunch and dinner, and there's a 24-hour self-serve coffee bar that provides anything from espresso to cafe americano, various teas, and sparkling water. If you like harder alcohol, there's a package that, along with beer and wine, provides unlimited mixed drinks throughout the day and evening. You'll also get access to different wines at meals, specialty teas and coffees during the day, and other perks. Here's the thing though, if you only want 1 or 2 mixed drinks a day, you'll be better off from a price point to pay for them individually. The drinks will be conveniently billed to your room. Or if you're like me and you only drink beer or wine, you'll be set. You're permitted to bring beer on board, which allowed me to try some local ales and lagers that I couldn't get back home.
Yeah, the New England wheat ale. Which one is? Oh, is it? Quite a ways.
Obviously, if you want the drinks package, you need to buy one for your traveling companion as well. That makes sense, or else people would likely just buy one package and sneak drinks to their partner, which isn't a cool thing to do. If you decide to buy the occasional drink and charge it to your room, don't worry because prices are reasonable. We ordered a couple lagers and glasses of wine prior to dinner a few nights, and they were only €5 or so each. Pretty much the same price, or maybe even a bit less expensive than you'd pay in a nice restaurant in France. Enough about food and drink for now, let's talk about selecting a cruise on Viking. If you see a good deal online, go ahead and reserve it. If there's a better deal later, you can rebook and just forfeit the nominal per person deposit you put down. I've done this once when I saw what I considered a good deal on a future cruise. Being me, I'd still follow promotions in the following months, and I never saw a better deal come along. These vacations are popular, and prices don't go down as you get closer to embarkation. Basically, cabins fill up. If there's a price you like, and the dates align with your schedule, go ahead and reserve. I go directly through Viking to discuss pricing, ask about benefits, and book travel. I've met passengers who use a travel agent, so that's also an option. Now, I know that the definition of a deal is personal. What I do is set a price on how much I'd like to spend on a trip to Europe for two. Remember that, depending on the deal, Viking will book your air travel and you can fly out before the cruise or extend post-cruise for a nominal fee. What I suggest is to factor in the cost you would pay for 2 airline tickets, a hotel, and 3 meals for each day you're on the river. Then factor what you'd pay in transportation costs if you want to visit multiple cities. You're not just cruising to see sights, you're going from one destination to another. If you want to start in one city, end in another, and visit places in between, the cost of trains or continental flights, plus the extra steps of packing and unpacking every few days will add up. Pick where you'd like to go. Viking will get you from A to B, and they'll do all the work along the way. Once you put all the costs of a personally planned vacation next to a vacation with a Viking cruise included, you will likely realize that going this route is good value. You'll see reduced or free airfare from Viking. I've booked with reduced airfare and for a couple $100 more, extended my stay upon arrival as well as after disembarkation from the ship.
To Marseille, to board at our quick boarding gates.
We take 8-day river cruises, and I don't want to fly all the way to Europe for that short a time, so I just request a few days before I sail and a few days after. Viking books this for me. If 8 days is all you need, then you're set with the airline reservations and overall cruise package as is. If you want to stay longer and not plan anything on your own, Viking also does a wonderful job of extending stays prior to and after your cruise. I choose to find my own accommodation and transportation, but I've spoken to travelers who let Viking do this for them, and everyone recommended these all-inclusive add-ons. Or, if you just want to stay on a ship longer, you can also book a lengthier package with more days on the river. You can pay gratuity via credit card on Viking's website before your trip, or you'll be charged on the final day of your cruise. I've been told the total is about the same. It's just you'll pay in your home currency before you leave, or you'll be charged a similar amount in euros on the final day. Also, you can and should tip staff that go above and beyond during your time on the river. You'll get to know a few of them quite well, and it's nice to tip them extra during your stay. Your tips are shared with all the workers. So the crew members you likely won't meet because they're busy keeping the engines running and the common areas clean receive their fair portion of your gratuity. Here's a good example. Each day there are fresh flowers for you to enjoy. They just don't appear there. Someone changes them for your benefit. Crew members you may never see work to make the ship perfect around the clock. All the crew members were extremely friendly and helpful. If you needed something like new towels or assistance with luggage, it was immediately provided. And don't worry about only speaking English. Crew members spoke 2, 3, 4, or 5 languages, with perfect English being one of them. Tips for tour guides at each port are also appreciated, and I would say expected. Our guides range from good tour guides to exceptional tour guides. I liked all the ones we were paired up with on this trip. I'm guessing if they aren't particularly good, the cruise line won't continue to use them. Each day, breakfast starts early. When you're done eating, you head out on your morning tour. Every day, we had an array of excursions included in the price of our cruise. Some of the sites we visited included the building in Arles where Vincent van Gogh resided back when it was an institution. Arles loves Van Gogh, and you can follow the painter's time here via plaques throughout the city. Here's one of his paintings that shows even though the composure of some buildings has changed over the years, you can clearly make out what still is here today and what was here when he painted this. Especially the bridge in the background. We also ascended medieval streets to get to the top of the mountain in Viviers to visit the Cathedral of St. Vincent. And we ascended the hill in Old Lyon to visit the basilica there, although for that site we did so on a bus. On this trip we did a fair amount of walking. I wouldn't say anything was strenuous, but I enjoy hiking regularly. If you're concerned about difficulty walking up or down hills or over cobblestones, easier tours are available when necessary. Viking also offered a more strenuous walk in Lyon, although we missed out on that as it filled up before we asked to join. I think there's demand for more slightly strenuous excursions. Perhaps Viking will offer additional ones in the future. Even though guests were a bit older, many of them were still fit and active. Walking around French towns and cities isn't all you'll do. With only around 200 passengers on board, it's great that tours are segmented down even further to 20 or 30 people per guide. You'll still look like you just got off a cruise ship even with a small number of people in your group though, as you'll be following a guide holding up a bright red lollipop while you and everyone around you are wearing wireless headsets.
Should we go up and see the church and the building from the 11th century? No, 12th century, wasn't it? 1100s. I'm sure she said 12th century.
Do you like wine? Well, we were in Lyon just prior to the release of Beaujolais Nouveau, and one included excursion made sure we got to taste some of it. A bus took us about 60 kilometers into wine country and then to a local winery for a tour and tasting. After the tasting, you could purchase wine directly from the winery. The beauty of Beaujolais Nouveau, or Beaujolais Village, is they both are tasty and they both are reasonably priced.
So it was the Beaujolais Village. I think that was the one that we in the 1809.
Feel free to open your bottle back on the ship or take it home to share with family or friends. In addition to the daily tour included with your cruise package, there are others you can take in the afternoon. Purchase these excursions online prior to your embarkation. If you see some you'd like to join, buy them quickly as they fill up. We chose to explore each city in the afternoon on our own. There will be time to take in a museum or an area that may not have been covered on your morning group adventure. Skipping lunch provides even more time to explore. Just remember when your boat leaves for the next destination.
This way.
You'll be reminded of the time you need to be back on board, and you also have to scan out and scan in with your room key so the crew will know who's on the ship and who isn't. Or, in lieu of an afternoon adventure off the ship, there are plenty of chances to learn about the region and enjoy some entertainment by staying on board. There were talks about the history of the area, or special events like cooking classes. These events, usually located in the lounge, run into the early evening gathering where you'll hear about that night's dinner as well as tomorrow's activity. The lounge stays open late and local entertainers come on board for your enjoyment.
Un rire qui se perd sur sa bouche. Voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel.
One night there was late night trivia. We came in third out of 10 or so teams. We discovered that we know pop music quite well. Our prize was a nice bottle of French wine, which we shared with our fellow teammates a few evenings later. There was also a trivia section about the history of Viking. I won't tell you exactly what the questions were, but if you know the name of Corinne Hagen's dog, it may come in useful. Check out the shop near the front desk for more possible answers. They also have a nice selection of Viking apparel and gifts you can purchase for friends back home. Dress as fancy as you want, but I'd say the dress code was comfortable and casual. Jeans or khaki pants with an Oxford or sweater work just fine. Remember, you'll be doing a lot of walking on this trip, so comfort is key. If quiet time is something you want, you can get that as well. There's a library with books you can borrow and read right there on the couch or take back to the room. Do remember to return them prior to leaving the ship for home. Also, don't leave a book you brought on board with you on the library shelf unannounced. All books are vetted prior to being offered to guests. From the selection available, I'd say there are books for everybody on board. Let's not forget the natural scenery that's all around. You can view it directly from your cabin if you have a French balcony or your own veranda.
Oh yeah, here comes the bridge.
And you're more than welcome to go out on the top deck to see the sights around you. If you want to be active up there, you can walk the track, practice your putt, and play shuffleboard. I enjoyed just sitting and having a coffee while marveling at my surroundings as we glided through France.
Double espresso and tasty cookies, decadent cookies.
Here's some of what I saw during my time on the upper deck and from my French balcony. If you'd like a bit more than just nature to observe, you'll get to see how locks work from inside of one. There was a brief tutorial on locks one evening, and then we were lucky enough to travel through some during the day, which was quite a sight.
The gate in front of it is a valve, and once it's sealed, once the gates are sealed, that valve will open up and allows the water to drain out until the level inside of the lock descends to the level of the next portion of the river. So it all just kind of balances out through natural draining and Archimedes' principle.
Here you can see how the ship's bridge lowers prior to sailing under roads. We were fortunate to get a quick tour of the bridge and have our questions answered by the captain. Not sure if that's offered on all cruises, but if it is, plan on attending. You'll quickly learn how large a ship is and how an entire team is required to sail it. In the coming weeks, I'll be posting additional videos that show more footage of how impressive it is to go through these locks and more details about our daily excursions with other passengers. Please click the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and if you've been on river cruises before, feel free to share any thoughts or ideas for other viewers in the comments below.